Welcome back. I'm doing just another live garage update. I have power back now, so that's nice. If you watched the last video, you know that, not surprising to me, I had leaks in my fuel tank along the top edge of the baffle, and there's a lot of different ways to fix it. I'm going to try the least invasive method right now. I'm going to take my sealant and mix it up as per normal, and then I'm going to thin it out with toluene. It has a whole gallon. I don't need near that much, but that's the smallest size Sherwin-Williams had, and they were the only place I could find it. But according to everything online and talking to some guys at the club meeting today, you can thin out the sealant with toluene. You can do up to 15% by weight. So I'm going to mix up a batch that I think will be enough to get into the areas where I was having those leaks, and then I'm going to pour out 15% of that weight in toluene in another cup, and then I'm just going to start mixing it in until I think I get the consistency I want. What I'm going for, I don't know if you can see that, but I have a 16 gauge needle on the end of this syringe. If I can get it thin enough to go through there, I'm going to try and use that like a little mini caulking gun to shoot down. There's a tiny little gap on the flange I'm going to try and shoot it into. When this gets bolted to the plane, that gap, I should be able to fillet it. I already test fit up there, and it's not going to interfere with the spar or the skin or anything like that. It doesn't overlap anything, so I think that'll be the easy fix. If that doesn't work, then I'm going to have to go more invasive, possibly try putting a vacuum on the tank and letting it suck sealant in and stuff I don't want to do. Since I only have the leak right there on the top edge, I think this will be the easiest way to remedy it. So we're going to mix this up, we're going to shoot it in there and let it cure, and in another week or so I guess we'll try again and see if it passes. In the meantime, over this next week, I'll try and, now that I got power again, start trying to get that left fuel tank caught up. Hopefully I learned enough lessons that it comes out better than the right fuel tank. Enough said, let's go back over to voiceover Tim, because I'm sure he'll have a whole lot to say about how this actually went. On to the show. Alright, so we're on to voiceover Tim. And yes, I will indeed tell you how it went. Mistakes were made. So I'm mixing up the sealant right now, and that all goes perfectly fine. I measured out, I can't remember how much it was, but measured it out on the scale, then I tared the scale out so I could add the 10-to-1 ratio for the hardener, and then completely forgot about the total number. And I'm going to mix it up, and as soon as I'm done, I'm going to put that thing back on the scale so I can get a total weight, but really all I'm reading is the weight of the hardener. And now I'm going to pour out the toluene I need to thin it out. And there's no right or wrong as long as I don't go over the 15%, which I was way under. I basically ended up doing 15% of the hardener weight, and I realized it was still not thin enough, so I just kind of added a little extra, but I know I was nowhere near how thin it could or probably should have been for what I was trying to do. But it seemed thin enough to get through the syringe. Didn't think much of it, and I didn't figure it out until probably midway through doing this. I think later on I went and weighed what was left of the syringe, and it still weighed like 2 grams or something. But I was able to get it in the syringe, and surprisingly I was able to get it to flow through the tip. And that's really all I wanted, because I didn't want a whole lot. I wanted it to be able to get into that little gap. You can see it in some of the spots between the skin and that flange. So you can see how hard I'm having to squeeze it, but it is coming out. Just going through the whole thing, I realized I've got plenty of sealant left, so I decided instead of just focusing on the spots that were leaking, I'm just going to do the whole flange, top and bottom. little added protection. There you can see how hard I'm having to squeeze that thing. I think it was right about there where I think I figured out that I could have made it a lot thinner. But I was able to peel the skin a little bit, like pull it away from the flange just a little, just to notice that it is actually getting down in there. Hopefully it's thin enough that it sits up in the garage. It'll flow down in there just a little bit more. Here I am adding a little extra to the problem areas. And hopefully it fixed the issue, but I won't find out for a week. And I'm still contemplating whether or not I should encapsulate those rivets, because if it's getting to the back edge of that flange, that means it could easily get to those rivets and come out too. But honestly, if it comes out the bottom side, it'll probably come out the top side of the rivet, so that'll be a whole different problem. Let's just hope this fixes it. Before, I wasn't seeing anything at the rivets. And again, it's only the top edge. It should hardly ever have fuel rushing up there all the time, so I think we're going to be all right. Now I'm just kind of pulling the skin back and working what's left down there with the spatula in it, and that's it. So quick little update, that's where we're at. Hopefully tomorrow I can start work on that left tank. And yeah, leave some comments, like and subscribe. I will see you all on the next one.